Hi everyone, this is Jackie from Jack's Literary Corner. Now, I don't have a lot to say, but I do believe that it's good to post regular videos, and I'm not good with creating schedules on at least on my own accord. Although with this class, I mentioned if you watched my previous video, I just talk about that I'm doing a class this fall, so that I'm kind of hoping that will help get me more scheduled and knowing that my time is even more limited, that I will focus more on my writing, although I'm worried that I won't have any time on day, if they make me work on, if my job has me work on the days I have school. I'm worried that I won't have any time on those particular days. Anyway, so here's my update of what I've been doing. I've been trying to slowly creep my way through this particular book. It's not one of my TomeTopple reads, because obviously I can use it for TomeTopple, but I've been reading it on and off. And also, I want to get this and the one I just got last Christmas, the Tales from Shadowhunter Academy. I want to get those read so that I can start on Lady Midnight, because I do believe people have said that you need to read Tales of the Shadowhunter Academy, or you might be spoiled if you read Lady Midnight. Although I'm not a big, if I can get away with it, sometimes I kind of let myself get spoiled on certain things. But anyway, I just finished The Rise and Fall of the Hotel de Mort. And, I feel like these stories, I'll probably, when I finally finish it, I'll probably do a little review or talk about it in a wrap-up or something, but I just want to say that, it's nice to spend time with this character, because Magnus is one of my favorite characters, but the stories are just, they're not memorable. They're interesting. Maybe it's because I've been reading the stories on and off periodically, but it's okay. It's an okay read. I'm glad we get to know some of Magnus's backstory and learn more about him and see some of his adventures, and it's always fun to just spend time with his character. But it's very to me, like I said, it's kind of nice to spend time with him again and with the other characters and learn more about him. But other than that, the stories just feel really incomplete to me. They don't, and maybe, and it feels like a lot of short stories I've read, when the other short story collection I read that is from a series, Stars Above, compared to the actual series that it comes from, Stars Above, the stories in there, they're cute, but they feel incomplete to me. And maybe that's just me. And maybe I'm just not into short stories. Or maybe because I've read the original series, the big series, I don't know, maybe it just is a little disappointing to read short stories after reading a big, epic, long story. So, well, anyway, so there's that. I'm obviously still not done with it. I have a few more stories to read from that. And that one I'm actually going to finish, unlike the Kelly Link collection of short stories. Because, I've been with this world for a long time, the Shadowhunter world, so I want to keep going with it, because I still carry a torch for Cassandra Clare, although I'm not as in love with her work as I used to be. So I finally finished this one, the only book I'll finish for TomeTopple. But tonight, I'm probably going to make sure I'm in bed. Yeah, because it ends tonight at 11:59, so I'm going to make sure I'm in bed. I'm in bed at 11, and I'm going to read a little bit more for this. And then TomeTopple will have ended, and I'll just have to wait until, I want to say the next round will be, I think Sam said that the next round will be around, November. But, and maybe I'll try continuing that one in November, or maybe, actually, no, I'm hoping I'll be done with this book, because I'm going to keep reading it the rest of the summer, or however long it takes me. But anyway, I really enjoy this book. I'm so glad I've read it. I'm glad I ended up not getting rid of it, because as I said in my previous video, I was going back and forth with it, but with donating. But then I heard a lot of booktubers especially Sam from Sam's Nonsense, talking about how great this book is and how she loved it. Oh, and I recently watched this old video with forget her name, with Alexa Loves Books, and she was doing a video with Kristen, I can't remember her channel name at the moment. Her name's Kristen. It will come to me probably when I'm done filming this video. But I recently saw their video where they talked about their favorite, at the time anyway, because it was a really old video, about their favorite fantasy books. And of course she mentioned this one, and I was in the middle of reading it, so I was pleased I could say that. And I think I even commented about it. But this was such a great book. It's not, as I said in my little review on Goodreads, I'm not very good at those, unfortunately, but I did the best I could. It isn't super action-packed. There is action in there, but it's not like action-packed like Sarah J. Maas's book. There's no big epic war or anything. Although there's war in the background because, our main character, Sorsha, comes from a family who was at war with another family or another kingdom. So there's kind of war in the background, but there's not an actual physical war going on. It's more like the in-between stuff. Like, it's like a big feud. It's like, and it actually kind of reminds me a little of Romeo and Juliet. And if you read this book, you probably know why. I'm sure you know why I mentioned Romeo and Juliet. Because it is a romance. It is a romance in the story, which I love. Because I still love, as I've said many times before, I don't like reading books where romance dominates the plot. I like it when it's part of the plot, but not like I've moved on from paranormal fantasy, which a lot of times in paranormal fantasy, romance dominates the plot. But there are certain books I will make exception that have where romance is kind of a major plot point. Or, major is a central plot point. Like, I'll read, the classics that are where romance kind of dominates the plot, but a lot of times classics are more than just romance. And I was telling my friend about a sci-fi book I got, because I'm trying to get more into sci-fi, and I was telling my friend about this book I got, Defy the Stars, which I did a recent video, sharing the books I just bought, and that one was kind of a romance, because that one is a romance, because it's about, a human woman and an android falling in love. At least that's the one I got from what I got in the back description, because yes, I do read back descriptions. I know a lot of people have said, and in some cases I do agree, like the Raven Boys, the description on the back of the Raven Boys, I feel like it makes it seem like the romance plot is it's a big plot point, but it's not, in that particular series, it's not like the number one, it's not like Twilight, where the whole love story, the love triangle is what causes the big conflict in the first 3 books. Well, actually causes the conflict throughout the whole series, because the love between Edward and Bella, and them getting married. I'm sure most people read this. So spoiling is not that big of a deal, but in that book they have a baby, and before she gets turned, and Bella gets pregnant, and then that becomes a major conflict in the second half of the story, that last novel, where the fact that they have a baby and everyone's thinking she's a I can't remember what they called them, the children that are the vampire baby children. I can't remember what the newborns. So they just called them newborns. So I was it was still kind of the romance, and the whole plot was centered around the love that Edward and Bella had. So I've moved on from that kind of storyline. But I will make exceptions, and I think, when I was telling my friend about that, this is the friend Terry, who I've tried to tell her that, no, I don't like romance, and no matter what she says, I probably will not read, those romance books that you, you'd that you get, the kinds that she reads. And I was thinking about that. I was like, oh crap, what if she's thinking that, oh, so you'll read this book, but you won't read the books I'm trying to get you to read. I mean, this is a conflict that's been going on for a long time between us, because there are books that I want her to check out, but she's the type of reader who wants to read, she is someone that needs to read. She read the first chapter and get to know the characters and like the characters and relate to them. Which, okay, I get it. But, of course, sometimes when I'm in a bad mood, I get a little annoyed about it. But anyway, so this one, like I said, this one does have romance in it. And, basically my point of all that was I was feeling guilty because I was telling her about that book, and basically that book has a romance plot in it. It's like, she might think that, oh, you continuously try and tell me you don't read romance, yet you got this book. But anyway, that's, so, this was a really fun book, and I'm glad I read it, and I got through it really quickly, even though the chapters were really long, which could get annoying sometimes. But I was not bored in this book. Although, I think if you are a Sarah J. Maas fan, which yes, I love Sarah J. Maas. She's one of my favorite authors. But I don't think all of her fans would like me. Well, maybe not. Maybe, I shouldn't say that because I don't know. But I'm just, if you are, this is definitely nothing like Sarah J. Maas's books. And that's probably also because Juliette Marillier is a much older author. So her books are more, I don't know they're different. But I'm so glad. I got so nervous towards the end, and as Sam from Sam's Nonsense was saying, it was a nerve-wracking book because you didn't know if it was going to work out or not. You're so afraid. I mean, even though more logical part of my brain knows this is going to probably end happy, or at least bittersweet, but I'm still like I was so nervous, and I'm the type of reader who I don't cry in books. Yes, I don't cry. I mean, I'm so horrible. I'm heartless that I don't cry. But I do get very angry. I was, even when I was in the bookstore and trying to read a few more chapters when I went to the bookstore today, I was muttering to myself at how stupid the characters were being, and I was getting really angry. That's what I do. I get angry, and I'm one of those people. I'm like those people in the movie theater who is like, "Don't go in there. What are you doing? Don't, don't hide there." When people are being dumb in the movie, and you just yelling at the screen, and that's the kind of when I'm reading, that's the kind of reader I am. I'm like yelling at the book, even if the characters can't hear me, and they're not real. I just get angry. I mean, I don't totally not cry, but I'm more prone to cry in a movie when I actually see it, rather than reading the words and someone describing it to me. Although I love words, and I want to be an author someday myself, but when I'm more prone to cry, when I'm actually seeing the sad thing happening, physically, it's right there, I'm not just using my imagination, someone is giving it to me and showing it to me, not just describing it with words, then I'll cry. Okay, so that's what's going on. That's what I'm doing these last couple of hours of TomeTopple. I finished that book, and like I said, because I'm probably going to get on BookTube and, talk to and message my friends who I'm on Facebook, and I started a conversation via texting with two of my other friends. But like I said, I'm going to get in bed at 11, and I'm going to, or 11:30. I'll probably end at 11:40 or something. But I'm going to read a little bit more of this. So I never did get to Fall of Giants, so no surprise there. And I never did get to, I never did get to, Winter. I mean, I read a little bit of Winter, but I need to get to that. I think I need to read some of those books. And I think when I go to, with Terry to SuperCon this next weekend, I think I'm gonna put a couple books in, like I'm gonna have a sack and like it's a like something I got from Disney, and I'm going to read a little. I might read, but I don't know if I will or not, because of course when you're hanging out with your friends, the last thing you want to do is read. But even someone who loves reading, but maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm weird and I'm not and it's weird that even though I'm a passionate, ferocious reader, I don't want to read when I'm hanging out with my friends. Like, we don't go on reading dates. You know what? But, I might suggest that to Terry. I might be like, when she's here, like, make sure she brings a book. So, like, when we're in bed and stuff, we can read, a reading date. Maybe talk about what we're reading. You could tell her about it if she's interested. Let's see. How would, well, yeah, I guess I could do a little bit more in this video. So, I am so bad. I feel so horrible about this, but it's easier to feel less guilty when I'm not shopping with my parents, or they're not going to pick me up. Because if my parents are there, I'm in their presence, then I feel really guilty, and I know that I shouldn't have bought more books. But, I mean, I still have my money for the convention set aside, so, And what else am I, until I have to start paying bills, I mean, the only thing I have to do right now is write my parents a check for $100 as a sort of rent, like monthly dues, as my mom puts it. And so I don't have any bills to pay. I just give them $100 to help them out. But I ended up buying, and these were some books that I really couldn't pass up. I know that's a poor excuse for wasting my money, but you know what? I could waste my money on worse things like drugs or alcohol, or I could be one of those people that's really obsessed with video games. But of course, video games are a little bit better than drugs and alcohol. So these were some books I've been thinking about a lot lately. So, and it was one of these things where, like, each month they have some kind of sale. Like, you can buy one, like, nonfiction book. If you buy one nonfiction book, you get another one for free, or, And so this month's sale was, if you buy one paperback, you get one free. Well, of course, so I was gonna get 3 books, but then the booktuber was like, not the booktuber, the saleswoman was like, oh, well, reminded me of the sale, and was all like, well, why don't you get a 4th book, and you get 2 books for free. It's like, okay, I'll look around. I'll just look and see if there's something else. And there actually was. There was another book that I did put back. And some of these books are actually books that I've been thinking about buying, but never got around to it. And it's, like I've said multiple times before, the most expensive book there is like $5. Unless, it's a special book, then it's $6, I think. So first, actually, this is the last book this is the final book I ended up grabbing for the 4th book, and that is The Lilac Girls. I don't remember I think it's a group of women that were around during around in 1939, either way, it was around World War II, and like a group of female friends, and just one of those stories, one of those coming of age, looking back on the past, and remembering how you were around during a big event in history and how it affected you. This was one of those books that was on one of those lists, or literary lists, like New York Times bestseller. It's compared to, and okay, well, I guess this one is a little bit better than saying the next the next Hunger Games or whatever. I can't. That annoys me when they say that. But it says extremely moving and memorable. Should appeal strongly to readers. Kristen Hanna's The Nightingale and Anthony Doerr's All the Light We Cannot See. Library Journal. And actually, I enjoyed that book. I thought All the Light We Cannot See, it was good, but and maybe it's because I felt like I was rushing through it because it was so long. But I just thought it was good. It was okay, but I wasn't in love with the book like a lot of people were. This is The Lilac Girls by Martha Hall Kelly. So I cannot wait to read this one at some point. And then, so I've read The Constant Princess, but I never got around to reading The Other Bowling Girl. I have that, and I need to read it. And now that I have this book, The Boleyn Inheritance, then maybe I'll have a reason to get around to reading it. I've seen the movie, so I know what happens, but, most people, I think, would know what happens. The woman, it's another one of King Henry's wives who lose their head. But I think this is about Elizabeth. Oh, no, it's not even about Elizabeth, it's about these three women who are kind of connected to the Boleyn family. Anna Cleave. She runs from her tiny country, her hateful mother, and her abusive brother to a court ruled by the terror of the vengeful king who despises her Boleyn inheritance, accusations, and false witnesses. Catherine Howard. She is in love, but not with the diseased old man who made her queen and beds her night after night. Her Boleyn inheritance, the threat of the axe. Jane Rochford. She's the Boleyn girl whose testimony sent her husband and sister-in-law to their deaths. Throughout Europe, her name is byword for malice, jealousy, and twisted lust. Her Boleyn inheritance, a fortune and a title in exchange for her soul. So, this is about three women that are kind of connected to that family, and I can't wait to read this. I want to get back into it. I want to get back into that world, and I want to read more film. I recently bought, and I showed this book in a not that long ago, last year. I bought The White Queen because I didn't see any more of the books from this part of the series, but I did see her Philippa Gregory's The White Queen, so I ended up buying that one. And then I bought this one, Somerset. I had asked for this one for Christmas, but I didn't prioritize it on my list. But it was one I was definitely really interested in. But I wasn't oh my god, I had to have it. But I'm currently still reading Somerset. This is Somerset. I'm currently still reading Roses. And this is the prequel to that. And I was someone who believes that if there's a prequel, I'm a firm believer that I'm still going to read it after I read the first book. I don't think it's going to hurt if you read it, because the author usually, they're prequels because they're written after. They're sequels. They were books that are written after the original book, but they're about the events before that led to the events in the original book. So I feel like that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to read them after you read the original book. Yes, they will explain things, but then, the point of them was because they were written before, after the original book to explain the events of before. But anyway, Roses is basically historical fiction. One of those epic sagas is kind of compared to Gone with the Wind. It's basically about this family estate in Texas that grows cotton, and how this estate is cursed, and that the family owns it, the Tolvers, whoever is the owner and the master, or in the case of Rose's, mistress of this land, they will become obsessed with it and will begin to neglect it. Will, like, you have to, if you want to be with that person, then you have to take the land with it. And in Roses, it's given to Mary Tolver, and she inherits the land much to her mother and brother's chagrin, and it really affects her relationship with them. Her mom resents her and is bitter towards them, so does her brother, and her brother ends up leaving eventually, and it affects her relationship with the man that loves her. What is his name? I can't remember his name. The man, and he wants to marry her and everything. Percy Warwick, but he wants her to be focused only on him and, taking care of him and being a mother to his children. But she's all like, no, our farm, our plantation is my priority. You accept that you come second best. And then eventually, it's the last part of the next, and eventually later on in the book, we get the perspective of her granddaughter, who is just like Mary Tolver. And I am guessing that this is about maybe her father or a grandfather or something, or like how it all started, how the curse started, or what made people in this family. I don't know, but I am definitely eager and anticipating. And I'm glad I'm so happy I saw this, because I know it would be like $13 to $14 at Books A Million. So I find, and now here it's like only like $4. And like I said, this might have been the one I got free. I don't know, but so about that one as well. And then the last book is a book that I have constantly heard Reagan from Peru's Projects constantly talking about how much she loves this. And I also think, I just was thinking about her earlier today. And I think that Books with Emily Fox, or I can't remember her channel name. She is a French-Canadian booktuber, like Books with Emily or something, or Books with Emily Fox. Her and Reagan, I think just her too, are fans of this book series, and I saw it at the books, and of course it's a series, and I believe this particular book, it's so big because it has more than one novel in it. And and like I said, I'm definitely trying to read more fantasy books, especially not just the YA ones, because I read fantasy, but it is mostly YA fantasy. So I'm trying to read more non-YA fantasy. So I saw this there, and I was like, oh, I cannot pass this up. And this time, I'm not going to look at any reviews, because last time Reagan recommended a book, and I saw reviews for the book. I was a bit, it kind of turned me off the book. And I also, because I think it didn't help that I read it only a little bit at a time. So I didn't get very far in the book every time, and then I just started to lose interest. So I'm going to try not to make the same mistakes twice. And I can't wait to read it. This is going to be so much fun. And then I'll have to eventually, I'll probably have to wait and get it at Books A Million, because I doubt it's going to be at this bookstore. I might get lucky one day. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to spend a little bit more money than I spent on getting this book. Or I might just have to do what my mom, I guess I'll have to do what my mom always suggests, which is, get books check on Amazon. I'm just always nervous to ask her, because I'm worried she's going to say no. But, and, buying at the store, it's easy for me, because it's not like I have to ask her permission. She will sometimes request that I not buy a whole bunch of books, like she did that one day. And then I feel like I have to honor her wishes, because, she is my mom, so. But anyway, so those are the books I bought. I better stop this video now. If you participate in TomeTopple, I would love to know what you read for TomeTopple. And if you like this video, Be sure to give it a thumbs up and click subscribe if you have not already and you like this video. I hope you are enjoying your reading, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye!